Hi fantasy managers and welcome to FPL Team Talk. In this video I'm going to go through my team selection for game week 22. I'm going to talk about chip strategy, players I'm considering to bring in, and also captaincy. So if you enjoy these sort of videos, please give it a like. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And in the meantime, let's get into it. So just a little recap then of how I got on in game week 21. It was a little bit of an underwhelming week, 49 points. Did get a red arrow. It was the first red arrow I've had in 7 weeks. I've had 6 consecutive greens. So I don't want to say it was due, but I've just got to roll with that and accept it. It never looked like a great week on paper. But the highlights for me, Richarlison did get a return, which was great, but I was zooming an R in for the 3rd week in a row. I kind of called the 50-50 call wrong. Should have gone Saka, went Richarlison. That cost me a few points. Apart from that, Solanke and Watkins both returns. Stupini had a bit of a mare and no one else got anything. So it was always going to be quite a tough week. My one transfer I did do was I brought Haaland in, not because I thought he was going to start. I just didn't think for a minute he was. 2 reasons really. I needed someone to make sure that I got 11 players out. The other player was Cash, or first on the bench. Taylor and Salah didn't play. And Haaland guaranteed, I thought, minutes off the bench for me. And I was going to bring him in any case. So I just got ahead of the curve a little bit in terms of bringing him in. What was a little bit unfortunate, I think, is that Nkuku come back, scored off the bench, and that lost me some points. But I don't think I was ever going to know that was going to happen away at Anfield. Just don't think I would have called it. So I'm still looking pretty healthy with my rank. I've still got a free hit, my wildcard. I've got 1 free transfer, which I am looking to roll, but there are a few options and things that I need to consider with blank game weeks, double game weeks not being announced, really heavily affecting my plans moving forward. I've got 1.1 million in the bank. So all that said, let's move on. Still looking pretty good, and let's have a look at how the next game week is going to pan out for me. So moving into game week 23, and I'm pretty happy with how the side looks. Haaland, as I mentioned, came in last week as I was not guaranteed to have 11 players out. So it made sense just to bring the transfer in 1 week early. And then I always had a view to rolling in game week 23. The other benefit was that Haaland has gone up in price since and is due another rise. So I've kind of saved myself some money on that. On the downside, was to say Nkuku scored, but I can't call that. So this is the side how it looks at the moment. Yeah, I'm pretty happy. There's still doubts over Cash and whether he starts. Obviously, if I knew he was going to start, Sheffield United away, I think is a better fixture than Gabriel has at home to Liverpool. But I do know Gabriel is going to play. And I'm not sure I could rule out a Gabriel clean sheet. I wouldn't expect it, but he did score in the game at Anfield, in the not the FA Cup, in the league. So it could be a case of Gabriel scores. I don't expect from the previous 2 encounters a high-scoring one. So maybe Gabriel just comes in for assuredness of minutes. I don't know. We'll have to leave that maybe till later, get any news. Cash, let's wait and see what Unai Emery says. He did play the last game, but they did lose. Dubravka, clearly the best choice in goal for Newcastle against Luton at home. And captaincy, it is one where I'm not 100% sure about Haaland. I do think he'll start, but there is a risk that he will stay on the bench, even though Pep has come out and said he's ready to start. I'm not 100% convinced that means he will start, but I do think it's going to be quite a tricky game. So Brentford, yeah, I do think he'll start, but I'm not expecting him to play 90 minutes. That could surprise me. So do I just, with a risk on him not starting, and then maybe only getting an hour, do I still put the captaincy armband on him? I think I'm probably going to have to, given that there's just no other obvious choice. The only one I would like to go to is possibly Palmer. I'm not going to go with Saka at home to Liverpool. Salah obviously out injured. And there's no one else. Richarlison away at Everton. Even though captain, and that sort of paid off, he got a return last week. I'm not sure I'll go with that. Garnacho's a real punt. I think he's good for minutes, but Manchester United, even though scored 4 at Wolves, West Ham, I can see them scoring, but Garnacho got no involvements in 4 goals, so I'm just not 100% sure of that. Watkins, don't like sort of no penalty taker away at Sheffield United. I think Sheffield United at home is a difficult, not an easy fixture for Aston Villa, even though they're free scoring. Solanke at home's another one, but that feels a bit dangerous. So I think the safer option is just Haaland. So I think I'm just going to end up going with Haaland. I think if Brighton had performed well at Luton, I would consider Estepinian. But those 4 goals going in has really put me off, so I'm not going to go there. So it looks for me at the moment, I'm just going to have to go to Haaland. And I am looking at a couple of different options in terms of transfers in. But they all pan around what's going to happen in games 25, 26 and 29. My initial plan was I've got no Liverpool players in. I've got just Haaland in terms of City. I was going to bring in a couple of Man City players for 25 where they double. If Liverpool doubled, which we were expecting them to, then I'm just going to free hit 3 of their players in. Salah's not fit. It'll probably be lots of Jota, Darwin Núñez, and Trent, depending nearer the time who I think will get the minutes. If they're not, then I'm not going to end up free hitting in 25 because I don't want those Liverpool players longer term. They've got Arsenal this week, so it's not a good week to bring them in. Then they've got a good fixture the week after. 25, not bad against Luton as well, but then they blank in 26 and in 29 more than likely. So I just don't know if I want to bring them in longer term because I'm just not going to get enough fixtures. So I'm not entirely convinced. It might punish me in the short term, but I certainly will be able to make more transfers later on and possibly avoid free hitting in 29. 26 I can get through, as I can show on here. I've got transfers to make. Porro, Richardson, Palmer and Salah, who will almost definitely come out unless we get news that he's going to be back earlier. So I will have transfers to bring players out. Salah possibly will have to come out. Richarlison, I'm not really keen on moving him out. Porro and Palmer would probably be benched. Taylor would come out and I'd upgrade that defender because I have money in the bank, and also with Salah being downgraded I have money. And a couple of City players would come in for that 25 in any case, and their fixtures look decent. So then I'd be on, really, what do I do in game week 29 with the FA Cup fixtures? When we get the news about the Chelsea-Villa game being played and the replay and who plays in the next round, then I'll have a little bit more idea about which of these players will be available. Because right now I know that Gabriel and Saka are going to have a fixture in game week 29. Possibly Palmer as well. Or it could be the likes of Watkins and Cash that would have a game. So it could go either way, and if there's any other upsets then obviously they will play as well. I think Brentford Areola would definitely play as well, so I could get players in enough or just target players for 29. The other choice would be that I don't free hit if there's no double game for Liverpool, get through 26 comfortably, then just dead end my side into 29 and wildcard out of it. So that's a possibility, at which point we should know more about the doubles later on in the season. So that's part of my chip strategy right now. The players that I'll be targeting coming in now have to be the obvious ones, really. With Man City having a double in 25 and playing in 26, I've just got to be targeting their players. And out of their players, I really think Walker was on this list last week. I don't think I can go to him until I know he's starting again. He starts every game, then the off-the-field problems have occurred, and he's been sort of put on the bench. So what's the strategy there? Is he going to come back? I need more games in order to find out whether he'll play more often. Foden's the obvious choice. The other one is KDB. Well, I'm not 100% confident in him coming into the side and playing 90 minutes against Brentford. I would rather wait and see if that happens before bringing him in. So I think just rolling this transfer, give me 2 to the next couple of weeks, it just feels like the right thing to do. But I am aware that I'm kind of losing points in the short term with De Bruyne and Foden against Brentford. That could hurt me. And talking of short term as well, see, Newcastle's fixtures look really nice. They've got the likes of Luton, Forest, Bournemouth. Then it gets a bit harder with Arsenal. But Trippier looks really good with those fixtures. 2 of those at home, Luton and Bournemouth, they look like clean sheets. We know how dangerous attacking is. I have the money when I get rid of Salah. But again, it's not a great fixture for them in 26. And they're more than likely going to blank in 29 as well. So that just leaves me with another sort of headache further down the line. But I look at the amount of points I could be missing out in the short term. Now, if I was to bring in Trippier, I think I'd have to do it this week because Luton at home is just too good a fixture to pass over. But then I'm left only with 1 transfer next week, and I've got to bring 2 City players in, 24 and 25. So that feels unlikely, but I do feel I'm missing out in the short term to sort of get the medium term and long term chip strategy. And am I getting that balance a little bit wrong? The only other player that I'll bring in as well is Gordon. I'm late to the show with Gordon. He's been brilliant at 6.1. I've got Garnacho, so I could easily upgrade to him or downgrade from Salah. But again, the same things applies. He's been brilliant. He looks absolutely nailed. So he's the other one I could potentially bring in for this next 3 fixtures. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Is it a case I should be targeting Gordon and Trippier? If we still haven't heard about that double game week for Liverpool, and is free hitting the best idea to do you think, if they do double game in 25? That's it for this one then, guys. Thank you for watching. Let me know what your captaincy plans are for game week 22. And in the meantime, we'll come back at you next week with team selection, watch lists, all that good stuff. So make sure you hit the subscribe button. good luck, and I shall see you on the other side.